All right, guys, what is going on? We're on YouTube Live. I'm recording my blog post on Airlines Sector Watch. So let's get to it here. If you guys have any questions at the end, we'll go ahead and go over that. So let me share my screen here. All right, so airlines. Now, every weekend, I do a sector watch. I don't have the sectors listed here, but if you go into TZ2000 and go to industry indexes, so I call it sector, but it's really industry indexes. I sort these by the 5-day and the 30-day, and what's really started popping here is airlines. I've got the ETF here up, aptly named JETS, and you can see here September, this thing has run from about the upper 27s all the way to 31, pulling back in a little bit here. But it's been a really nice run here. Kind of came out of nowhere because you can see here, this thing had really pulled back and basically was starting to test the lows here and got this nice little pop. Now, what I don't have in here, in my normal charting setup, I would also have all this laid out in terms of these sectors and the dates, which ones have been the best and worst over certain periods of time. That's how we do our sector analysis, looking at the volume patterns, seeing where money is flowing. Money is definitely flowing into this area. We can see it by the price action, and you could also see it by the overall volume trend, which again, I don't have up here. But stocks that I'm watching, and I use a top-down approach. So I take a look at the sector. Sector looks really good. I'm probably not going to trade the ETF because it's just not volatile enough. As you can see here, while this has run from 28 to 30, these guys here have run from 44 to 52, from 50 to 59. So much more volatile to trade the stocks unless there's a leveraged ETF for that sector, which Airlines does not have. So we're not going to trade the ETF. We're going to pick the best stocks. The ones I picked here are AAL, SAVE, LUV, and I'm missing a couple of here. We've got Lennar, LGIH, and DHI. So these are the big guys here. DHI, sorry, I went to the housing, which is the other area I like. But we've got Save, Love, AAL. We should have JetBlue in here. And that's looks like about it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got a little messed up here. There's a problem with doing this live, but we're good here. Okay, so AAL, let's take a look at this. Essentially, the same pattern is playing out over all of these guys. Now, what I'm going to look at is, first of all, which ones are more volatile? Which ones tend to move more? So AAL has been pretty good here, but if I had the choice, I would probably take one of the low floaters, like maybe Save, which has run from 30 to 35. Right now, the percentage gains have been about the same, but we see that it's a lower float, 60 million compared to 400 million. And it's got a little more short interest at 9.47, although AAL has some at 8.2, which has probably helped this. We can see here, Love, LUV, doesn't have quite the same amount of short interest, and it's just as heavy of a stock. We don't think of that when we think of Southwest Airlines versus American. American sounds like it's going to be much bigger. But in terms of trading, the float sizes are about the same. So why we care about that is it takes more volume to push a heavier float. So I'm going to probably go with AAL over LUV and over something like JetBlue here, which has a pretty big float and has only moved from 18 to 1945. So JetBlue, we can take out of here. It's basically going to be this week watching AAL and Save very closely. So what am I looking for entries? With Save, although it is a little extended, this line here is a 50-day moving average. I basically want it to remount the 50-day moving average. It's already done that once and failed. Still a good pattern overall, though. So if it can get up in here, aggressive, if we wanted to be aggressive, we could get in before it clears this range. I'm probably going to wait till it gets above 36. That would clear this range and give it a little more room to show that it's holding this level. And if we do enter there, you can see there's a ton of room to the upside. Its breakdown was here right around 45, so that gives us a good 10 points there. And if it were to actually get to the gap fill, we're talking about 13, 14 points. So really like save here. And then AAL is basically the same pattern. We don't have a moving average. It's actually showing more relative strength because it's already crossed its moving average. So consolidating here, if it were to break, say 51.75, that would give us a good entry. We'd probably have to play a break of the high here as well. And you can see why I like save so much, because it also has more room to move before hitting resistance, where AAL doesn't. The better way to play AAL is at these extended levels, if it starts to consolidate more, as save has, we could play it on a pullback, maybe on a pullback to the 9 if it tests that 9. So that's what I'd like to see here with AAL, maybe even a deeper pullback, just because that would give us better risk reward, better spot to enter farther away from a resistance level, which is this high here. But if we do decide to enter here on the break of this current range, we would play for a break of the high. We wouldn't get out here at 54. Maybe it could do that. The last time it broke a high, it did run a little bit before pulling back. So maybe we could get that run to 57, 58 and take our profits there. JetBlue, probably not going to trade, but if it does clear the 50, maybe that would set it up to run. So we'll continue to watch JetBlue as well. And the one I was forgetting here, UAL, putting in, again, a very similar pattern. And this one actually does have a little more room to run than AAL. Much like save. So I'd probably go with UAL, United, or save. All right, guys. So that is the sector watch. What we're looking to trade going into the week here. And hopefully these guys set up and we get a good trade.